shocking these babies. That way they know not to like books or plants or...
This book had more death in it than I expected.
We were literally getting Napoleon's life story. Like,
People are dying, paintings are aging. That's pretty good to me.
Welcome back to my book channel. My name's Amber, and I might be about to regret what I'm gonna do this week. I am currently in the middle of the tandem read for Throne of Glass, and I am kind of tired of fantasy. Like, I'm reading it and I'm enjoying it overall, but I'm also just kind of tired of having to go back and forth between books and fantasy books, and it's really in depth, it's really deep on things that are happening. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of war, there's a lot of magic, and I just kind of want something more chill. So I thought, what if in between going back and forth between books, I go back and forth between other books, more books to go back and forth between. Logic, that makes sense. I'm sure this will go great. I was like, what if I take this opportunity to read more classics? Because I've been in the mood to read more classics for some reason. I don't know why, but I have a nice stack of classics here that I can go through. Yeah, this will be fun. I hope I can get through some of these because I've had a bunch of classics on my TBR for a while and I would like to get through some of them. So let's talk about what I have available. First off, on my Kindle, I have The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. I'm pretty sure this is kind of a fantasy based on this like man who turns invisible, you know, the Invisible Man. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know too much about this one, but it sounds really intriguing. It's really short and it's on my Kindle. So hypothetically, that should be really fun. I also have The Picture of Dorian Gray. I've had this book for not too long, but this book itself has been on my TBR for a long time. This is a very classic. I am very excited to read this one. This is basically, if you're not aware, about this like man who gets his portrait painted, and in the meantime, I think his like soul kind of swaps with the painting, so he stays young forever, but his painting gets old or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but I definitely want to read this one. It's been on my radar for a long time. And then I have Brave New World. This book has been on my radar for a while as well. This is like a utopian dystopian. This gives me like 1984, Fahrenheit 451, like just a look at the future and to see what will happen, because you know, there's a bunch of these kind. I did not really enjoy a lot of the books that remind me of this one, so we'll see if I like this one, but it is a classic that is pretty essential, that I think is pretty essential, so I would like to read it. Then I have another classic that I'm honestly, these two, I wasn't sure if these were like classics or like modern classics, but I am going to throw in The Handmaid's Tale into this. I'm not entirely sure what this one's about, but I know that it has to do with like women and social roles and something like that. So I am very excited for this one. I have been wanting to read this one for a while as well. Then I have two children's classics, which I have also been wanting to read just for fun. So I have The Tale of Despereaux, which is about a mouse, apparently. This is a really pretty edition that I thrifted. I don't know what this book is about at all, other than a mouse, I guess. And then I also have The Wind in the Willows, which is also really cute, and I don't know what it's about. When Mole goes boating with the water rat instead of spring cleaning, he discovers a world he never knew about. So these two have not been on my radar for too long, but they sound really fun and fast, and the words are very big, and there's pictures because they're children's classics. So I thought these would just be fun palette cleansers maybe. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to take me, how many books I'm going to get to, but overall it feels like it would be fun to get into some classics, and yeah, I will update you whenever I pick one of these up.
okay, so it is now the next day and I have made some good progress. First off, I listened to 3/4 of the way through Brave New World, and that book starts out in this lab, like, you know, in the future sense, dystopian future, and we start off in this lab where these babies are being made in these science labs, and like they're not just being made one at a time, they're making twins in sets of like hundreds and thousands. they're doing like tests on these babies where they're like testing them in the sense of they're making them touch like happy flowers, happy things, and then they're like shocking these babies. So that way they know not to like books or plants or... So that was a wonderful introduction to that book. We're following this one boy mainly who is, you know, a little different. He doesn't fit in with like the norms because that's how all of these books work. You have this one person who's kind of like aware of the things going on and they're like, wait, what if this is not a perfect society? Overall, it's not like my favorite book ever. I don't typically love these types of dystopian books, but it's a classic. I can see that. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I'm going to definitely finish that book either today or tomorrow. And then I have gotten 50%, 45% of the way through The Invisible Man, and I am actually really liking this book. It's basically, so we start out with this man. He walks into this like house or inn thing, and he has like his head bandaged up, he has gloves on, eyeglasses, like you can't see any part of him. So they're like, this is suspicious, but you know, actually he's the Invisible Man. Later on he gets caught stealing things, and so then he gets discovered as being an invisible man. So now he's like on the run from like a bunch of people who are trying to catch this invisible man, but he can escape because he's invisible. So I love magical realism. I love it so much. So I'm actually legitimately enjoying this book, and I cannot wait to see where it goes, and I'm definitely going to finish this book really fast because it's really short. So that's where we are so far. I am going to go get a haircut now, so I will see you later whenever I have read even more.
Okay, hi, so I just finished The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, and oh my goodness, I have some thoughts. Like, this book was so good. I loved it so much. It was so entertaining. It was very intriguing. This book had more death in it than I expected. I'm not sure what I expected, but I didn't expect this invisible man to just kind of end up killing a bunch of people. This book, honestly, in a weird way, reminded me a lot of Frankenstein. Frankenstein is one of my favorite classics. I don't know why. It's just like the humanity of the monster and everything about that book. I really want to reread it. I've never reread it yet, and I really want to do that so bad. I need to do that this year. But this book reminded me of that in the sense of this man reacted how people think Frankenstein's monster should have reacted. Like, the monster reacted better than this man. Whenever Frankenstein was seen, he was seen and thought to be disgusting and a big monster, but actually this monster just genuinely wanted to see people and be normal. But whenever this man becomes invisible, his first reaction is to like start stealing things, and then whenever people like turn him in, he starts murdering people. Like, why does the monster show more humanity than this man? There's probably some like deeper themes in this book that I'm missing. That just comes with reading classics. I'm not gonna pick up on everything immediately. That's why I will reread it again. Funny story, I literally, whenever I had like 20% left, I immediately went on Pango and used my last $8 worth of credits to buy a physical copy of this book because I love it so much. I don't really rate classics just because it feels kind of weird to rate classics, because even if I might not enjoy it a super amount, it's a classic. So it feels like I'm supposed to rate it higher, even though it doesn't like resonate with me, because it's not like a modern fantasy where I'm like, wow, the characters, the plotline, it's a classic, like it's different. But I did really enjoy it. That's probably one of my favorite classics I have read. It's very short, very fast, so I can't wait to get that physical copy. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to start The Picture of Dorian Gray. I have this one on Kindle too. Kindle Unlimited has a whole classics collection, which is brilliant, and it feels weird to read classics on my Kindle, but it's also incredibly convenient, and wow, it like changes the world. Like, I think I might pick up Anna Karenina, because I have Anna Karenina. I have the prettiest edition of Anna Karenina, but I'm scared to read it because it's just so thick. I think I might pick up a Kindle version of it, But my thing is I want to like annotate the books because I don't know, classics feel like you're supposed to annotate them. But I might take advantage of being able to highlight on my Kindle and then just kind of transfer my highlights into the actual book. Is that cheating? I don't know. I feel like it's more important that I actually read the classic, whether it's digital or physical, versus like how I read it. As long as I intake it, that's all that really matters. So I think I'm going to do that. I am also I have like 2 hours left of Brave New World on audio. So I'll probably finish that one either today or tomorrow. I have an hour and a half road trip tomorrow, an hour and a half one way and then an hour and a half back. So I will definitely be finishing that book as well. And I also think at some point in this video, I will finish reading How Do You Live? I was reading that in the previous video, and that's technically a Japanese classic, so it kind of fits in this book. So I was listening to that one as well, so I will do that. But in the meantime, I am in such a classics mood that made me fall in love with classics even more. So I'm going to pick this up and we'll see. I love how classics like start with an introduction that this one specifically says if you read the introduction, it's going to spoil the book. So I got to skip all that so I can just get started. I will update you whenever I have gotten a little bit farther into this book.
Friends, I have not talked to you in forever. It is now Monday and I just got out of the gym, so I'm all sweaty. My car is so hot, so this is going to be a very fast update, but I needed to update you because first off, I did finish listening to Brave New World today. Wow, that book was really interesting. It's one of those classics that I don't love reading, but it's very, very interesting to just see how it plays out and the entire idea behind it. Especially at the end, we go from following one of the guys who grew up but then slowly realized he didn't fit in, to following someone who grew up entirely outside of our society and came in and was like, guys, this is insane. So we got to follow him. So at the end, we were following him and one of the leaders of the society. So that was really interesting to see them banter back and forth and what they were talking about and the ideologies and just all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting overall. Again, don't really know if I'm going to rate it, but I also am now 30% of the way through Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm going through that one kind of slow, but also I just did not have very much time to read this weekend. Very busy, very busy. So I am enjoying that one. I'm eager to see where it goes and to see how it plays out, but that's interesting. Our characters are very intriguing. One of the characters just keeps spouting such interesting quotes that most of them I don't agree with, but they're wow, philosophy, sure. But anyway, my car's so hot, my camera's sliding because everything is sweating. So I'm gonna go home and I will talk to you whenever I have another update. Okay, so a very quick update since I'm just about to head out the door for a supper thing, but I am about halfway of the way through now, and oh my goodness, I have finally reached the point in the story where we're actually at the, thing on the back of the book where the painting starts aging and he doesn't, so that's great. And also, someone just died. So, I'm having a great time. I'm reading this book kind of slow just because life is busy, but I am very much enjoying it, and since I'm at the halfway point, I'm pretty sure the next half will fly by quicker. But yeah, that is my update. People are dying, paintings are aging. That's pretty good to me. Okay, so a very quick update, but I did finish How Do You Live yesterday, and it ended up being pretty good. It was definitely not the most engaging read. Honestly, out of all the classics, it was like the least intriguing because we were swapping back and forth between an actual story and our character's uncle, who was like just giving life advice. So, you know, the story was interesting. We were following like a middle schooler, and then we were literally getting Napoleon's life story. Like, what was happening, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, so that book was good. I'll give more details later, but I just needed to give an update because I feel like this video is taking forever and I'm not giving any updates or reading really, but I am over 50% of the way through The Picture of Dorian Gray, so I should be finishing that soon. Anyway, my car is hot, I'm going to the gym, so I'll talk to you whenever I'm done with Dorian Gray. I should be finished, that should be the last clip, and then this video is gonna be over. I'm speechless. I just finished The Picture of Dorian Gray, and oh my goodness, the end of this book. Classics have a lot more death in them than we give them credit for. And this one, 3 people died. Three important people died. That's all I can say. I'm assuming a lot of people have read this book. I'm really behind on reading this book, obviously, since it's so old. But oh my goodness. It was really interesting because a lot of the time I was reading it, I was either really enjoying it or deathly confused as to what was happening. Like, there was a section in the middle where he was just talking about dragons and jewels, and I like had been zoned out because I was at the gym. So I did not know what was going on. So I had to like piece together, wait, where are we? But I love how this book ended. Oh my goodness. That's possibly like my favorite classic ending ever. Like, it's not my favorite classic ever, but my favorite ending of a classic. Absolutely. Absolutely. I loved that so much. I love like tragic, sad, surprising endings. So yeah, I'm gonna go grab the other books I read and then we can finish this video out because it's been going for like a week and a half now. In this video, I ended up reading 4 books. I read The Invisible Man, I read Brave New World, I read How Do You Live, and of course, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I did pretty much give ending thoughts on all of these beforehand, but really quick, The Invisible Man, I have this one physically on its way. I ordered it on Pango. It's not here yet, but it will be here soon. This book was really good. It was really short. It was really fun. Basically just following this invisible man about and just seeing how he like descends into madness because he's invisible and can get away with things. So that was really interesting. I'm not going to be rating any of these books just because they're classics and they don't fit a normal rating scale, but that one was really good. I highly recommend it. Very short, very not sweet. No, but it was good. And then I read Brave New World. This one was very, very interesting. All of the books like this, like 1984 and such, are very intriguing. I don't like deeply enjoy them because I just don't really care. Normally, the characters aren't likable, but it was definitely interesting. It was very intriguing to see the type of world we were falling into, to see people's reactions to that kind of society, and, you know, just appreciate our own society a little bit more. It doesn't involve some of this stuff yet, so let's not get to this point in history, please. That would be great. But then I read How Do You Live? This is a Japanese classic. This is the classic that inspired Miyazaki to make the last Studio Ghibli movie. This book was really interesting because we're going back and forth between an actual story of a little boy and his uncle's diary entries to him. So we'll be following this like story about this like middle school kid, and then suddenly we'll have like 10 minutes of like his uncle's entry, which is recounting like the entire history of Napoleon. So it was very interesting.
those sections were interesting to follow, but the actual story part was really good. It was really fun just to see a young boy grow up and figure out what he's doing with his life. It was really interesting to be able to read something that someone like Miyazaki grew up reading. That was fascinating just to see an entirely different culture's like classic stories. So like the stories that I grew up with, classics wise, someone in Japan would have grown up with this book. So that was really, really cool to see. And then I just gave you my thoughts on The Picture of Dorian Gray. I am very happy that I finally read this. It's been on my list for a long time, and I understand why a lot of people like it and recommend it. So yeah, those are the books I read this week. Funnily enough, I started this video because I was tired reading the tandem read for Throne of Glass, and as soon as I started this video, I gave up on the tandem read and immediately sold all of my Throne of Glass books on Pango. So I will not be returning to that series currently. I have them on Kindle, so I might pick them back up eventually, but not physically because not worth it. So I'm going to get back to reading normal books, probably not classics for a little bit, but also not Throne of Glass. So thank you so much for watching this video and sticking to the end if you did, and I will see you next time. Bye.